chop the head off. No one's going to know it. They're not going to. That's why, because every time I listen to the radio, I have my military sharp, in case we're caught.
Today, Gutierrez wonders at the drastic actions he and his friends were willing to take in those days. War is brutal, he says. Another forbidden action during occupation times was singing, particularly of one special song which to many people was the very symbol of defiance.
Won't you please come back to Guam? 8th of December 1941. People went crazy right here in Guam. Oh, Mr. Sam, Sam, my dear Uncle Sam, won't you please come back to Guam? Submarine destroyers and a lot of battleships out in the ocean, 30 miles speed. Oh, Mr. Sam, Sam, my dear Uncle Sam, won't you please...
Joe Guerrero didn't know Pete Rosario during the war. Joe was a 15-year-old carefree boy, as he tells it. When the Japanese came, his innocence ended. He struck back in defiance, he says, using the Uncle Sam song, screaming it out from the jungle at night in the forbidden English. The Japanese shot in his direction. He ducked, ran 100 yards in a different direction, only to stop and, still hidden, sing the song again. Joe says the song was the only weapon a young boy could find.
Soldiers were here, they're all over the place. But that was the time, so I was walking there and I heard this song, and boy, it impressed me, and I loved the song so much. So I keep remembering that song, and I want to sing it, I don't care if I get killed.
Automatic rifles and some hand grenades. American Marine will never be afraid. Oh, Mr. Sam, Sam, my dear Uncle Sam, thanks for coming back to Guam.
Pete Rosario, in his early 20s during the occupation, was a cook for the Japanese. The song kept his hopes up.
We hid in a certain place there where the noises wouldn't get out in a certain house, concrete home.
Were you actually singing out loud? Or
No, we were singing softly. But anyway, they heard us, or somebody squawked about our being there, and they came up one night and they beat us without mercy. But we kept up. What we believed in that song is that emotional, that the American will eventually come in, and take the island away from the Japanese. We believe on that also.
Those times of terror were over. The Marines had pushed inland and were close to the camps. They gave gum and cigarettes to islanders they found along the way to show the others in the camps the Marines had really landed. For Rosario, freedom came with a whistle.
I walked this way, with my short pants and everything like that, and with the Japanese insignia here. And the whistle again, so I turned back. I saw nothing. So I walk again. And this time about 8 to 10 Marines whistle at the same time. Boy, when I turned back the third time, I saw big Marines, bare from the waist up, blondie, with the strap of ammunition all over them, with the smoke pump gun and everything. I thought it's a toy gun, and ran over them about, we can say, 200 feet, and I hugged them and start crying. I say, who are you? And then... And then I hugged them and said, "Cry, baby. Stop crying, go back and tell the people to be ready here in 5 minutes. And no clothing, don't bring any clothes or food. We'll feed you up in Taihagan Mountain. Because we have a lot of Marines there, a lot of food there, milk for the babies, and shelters for everybody. And we have the Marine tanks, war tanks, circle about bigger than this area. And you're going to be in the center, well guarded by United States Marines."
Tell me when you had seen the Marines and you went back into the camp.
Yeah, I hollered out.
Yes, what did you do?
So, well, I said, hey! Fanhujong igimamizu, fanhujong gano limbala sa tingin ng mga Marines. I'm very happy.
Joe Gutierrez says his friends came up to his lean-to shelter in the camp and began to sing "Happy Days Are Here Again." Marion Taitano says she never even saw the Marines.
I didn't see them. Somebody spotted a couple of Marines, and it just went like fire through the camps. And you know, I really can't find. It was just like it just felt like the heavens opened. It was like the Pied Piper. And then I found out later that these two Marines were scared to death because they said, well, how are we going to manage 2 or 4 of them? How are we going to manage taking care of these people? But neither did they have the heart to tell us, no, we can't take you out. And even if they did, we probably would have walked over them anyway and just went right on.
But Taitano delayed leaving a few minutes. She had something very important to do.
So I said I couldn't go until I put on my new outfit. Well, I put on my new outfit, and you know, we were living in just these statue shacks that were just leaned to on the ground. And as I stooped out to try to follow everybody, I slipped on a puddle of mud, and of course that broke up everybody. Everybody was laughing at me, but everybody was so jubilant at that time that I didn't care. I mean, who cared? So, but I put on my new clothes because it was for the invasion, and that was the invasion, and I was ready for it. Whether it got muddy or not, I was ready to go.
The Asinan camp had 2,000 people in it. A military account says the Marines stumbled across the camp. Joe Guerrero remembers seeing the soldiers on the ridge above them and someone using scraps of cloth to signal. A few of the Marines started to talk with the people, and they were surprised that Chamorro spoke English. Here is part of a Marine Corps account of the release of the people. The ex-captives were almost beside themselves with joy. Not knowing whether to kiss their liberators, bow to them, or shake their hands, they tried to do all 3 at once. Many carried tiny American flags which they had hidden from the Japanese. Their faith in the return of the Americans had apparently never faltered. The weary infantrymen were immensely moved by the joy of the natives as they passed back through the lines. Soldiers who had been complaining because their rations were low gave away what few cigarettes they had. While watching the people trudge along with only what they had on their backs, the soldiers realized the meaning of liberation for these enslaved people. The people began leaving Meningan late in the day, so a temporary camp was set up on Mount Tenjo, the one Rosario had described being under military guard.
When I first got into the circle of inside the circle of the Wartang, you know, I observed Mrs. Dillihon, now Mrs. Miller, to have been singing with the Marines, "Let Me Call You Sweetheart."
Oh, you sweetheart, I'm in love with you. Let me hear you whisper. The next morning and over the next few days, the people were led to the resettlement camps at Asan and Agat and Anigua. Marion Taitano remembers walking that last stretch.
Now, we went through several mountains, several hills, and then into a valley, and we went up there. And there was a moment that I was on the top of the mountain, and I said to, you know, this was almost like on top of the rainbow. And we were on our way to reach the pot of gold. Could gold be any brighter than the word freedom? And there it was. We got down there, worn out, tired, and running a fever, and didn't care about anything but free at last. And that
You know that the American doctrine followed the 10 Commandments of God. And they believe in God. And they treated us during their occupation before the war, although naval government, but it's the best government. And here's what I'm going to tell you. I'd rather live in hell on the U.S. flag than to live in heaven under any other nation's flag. You get that? That's the way we feel. Now, of course...
Freedom came differently for the people of the South. They took matters into their own hands. This monument is a memorial to those who died during those times. The Mauricio Cave grenading incident, known today as the Mauricio Massacre, in which about 30 Chamorros were killed, was the final straw for 24-year-old Jose S. Regis. Immediately following that incident, when the village people were marched to the Atate area and told to dig a very big hole, Regis decided it was time to act. He spread the word to the 6 other men who had agreed to join him, and they made a plan. They were unarmed, those 7 young men, but caught the Japanese off guard. As the fight began, Chamorro, young and old, helped, grabbing whatever stick or rock they could find.
Some of the Japanese got their sword, got some of the gun, and they start shooting. And they shoot at me. And I'm teaching the other boy how to shoot, you know, how to take care of the gun. And they shoot right in front of my ear, right side of my ear when the shot go through. Lucky it doesn't hit.
There was confusion, sometimes even Chamorro hitting Chamorro by mistake in the fray of the fight.
You know, people, when you're scared, it's